What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Omar. I'm here with my boy Josh. It's happy time here in Orlando. Finally won the lottery. It's been a very long time coming. Got screwed over last year, but we here. Took a couple W's. Number one pick. How we feeling?
I'm feeling extremely happy. Last night was a great night. You always hear Jeff Wellman talk about how it's an exciting time to be a Magic fan, but last night it truly felt like that was the perfect time to say it. Getting the first overall pick, we've been burned in the draft so many years, So last night was just a great night. Extremely happy. We're in control of this draft, and extremely excited.
Very excited. Wendell Carter already came out and said, whoever the hell the number one pick is, we hitting the ground running.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of excitement. Hopefully Jalen Suggs recovers through his surgery. He's ready to go. Hopefully John Isaac is ready to go. I'm just ready. Very excited to see this training camp get started, ready to get this draft over with so we can get it into next year. I'm so ready to compete for wins. Hopefully we're not back hoping for ping pong balls again for a long time.
That was the last time we were ever talking about the lottery, right? For a decade, that was the last time.
Damn straight. I'm done with it. I'm done with arguing over whether or not we should be winning late games. I'm over it. I'm over it.
Yeah.
With getting the number one pick, there are a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Some good answers, though.
They're all great.
Good answers to have.
So
good questions.
Let's just start with number one because I already think 32 and pick 35. We're not picking one of those.
Get traded.
I'm not expecting for anyone to get picked there. I'm just ready to see the cash considerations or a future second down the line. I'm just ready for that. But we'll go down a couple of forks. Let's go with this one. We keep the pick. Who's your pick number one?
It's extremely tough because I think I've watched enough highlights on all three of those guys to just be torn. You know what I mean? They're all so good. Again, they all have their pros and cons, but it's just like you can't go wrong with any one of them. But if you ask me who I take number one, I'm gonna be honest. If I was the GM or president of basketball operations on draft night, I'd probably take Jabar Smith. I'm extremely high on Chet. Don't get me wrong. But I think I heard something today that really sunk in and kind of hit it for me. And again, it could change leading up to the draft, just how I'm feeling today. But they mentioned how what we need is a scorer. Yeah. That go-to guy. Chet is not that guy. He's going to be great. And again, he may end up being the first overall pick and we'll love him. But what we really need is that go-to scorer. That's what Jabari, even Paolo brings. Chet is going to be a generational talent. And if we take him, I'm not going to be at least a bit of me upset, but I think Jabari brings exactly what we need. People bring up his handling. I don't know why that matters, to be honest, because he's not going to have the ball half the time. He's not the point guard. He's not even the shooting guard. He's going to bring shooting. He's going to bring scoring, which is what we've been missing in Orlando for these past few years. We've been looking for that go-to scorer. People thought last year was going to be Cade for us or Jalen Green, but this year it could very well be Jabari Smith Jr. And I think if I had the first overall pick, I'd take Jabari.
Yeah, I completely agree. For me, the pick is Jabar Smith. And, I want to give a lot of credit to Shannon Sharp because I agree with him a lot that on the part that I saw a lot of comparisons to Kevin Durant with Chet, but me personally, I agree with him where I see a lot more Kristaps Porzingis with Chet, with the frame. Does have some sort of handle, can shoot, can protect, can block shots using his length, but at a certain, don't get me wrong, if you get a Kristaps Porzingis all-star level player, it's a win.
You win, yeah.
But going into what the Magic need, in my opinion, not Chet, but Jabar Smith is also the best player in this draft for me. He has the most upside as a three-level scorer, does have the handle to be able to create his own shot. He will have to work on it, of course, to be able to create separation, but he can shoot at all three levels, get to the rim, has some sort of athleticism, can guard on the perimeter. So he seemingly would fit next to Jonathan Isaac or next to Franz Wagner, whoever the Magic choose to move going forward.
Yeah.
But again, at this point, I have my trust in Jeff. If they take Paulo, if they take Chet, they take Jabari, hell, if they take Shannon Sharp,
Sharp.
Sharp or Jaden Ivey, they have they whoever is their guy, take them, and they have given me no reason but to trust them.
Mhm.
But me personally, my pick would also be Jabari Smith Jr.
Yeah.
But that being said,
So
you move on, taking that pick. So for both of us would be Jabari Smith.
yeah.
The Magic's roster is very, very loaded with guys that I'm very comfortable playing.
Mhm.
If you go through it, you have in the backcourt, for me at least, you have Markel and Jalen Suggs. You have Franz and J.I. at the 3 and 4, and you have Wendell.
Yeah.
Then you would have Cole, Gary Harris, Jabari, Chuma, Mo. And then that's 10. And then I'm still comfortable with playing RJ Hampton and Terrence Ross.
I'm just gonna act like you didn't say Terrence Ross. I was gonna act like that name kind of just went through one year and went out the other.
Anyways, Terrence Ross. Yes, Terrence Ross. I'm very comfortable playing 12 guys that are on this roster to the point where they can't just make a selection and move on. I very well see a trade coming.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably gonna have young guys and veterans together, mix of those two together in a trade.
Yeah.
What combination do you see coming?
If the pick is Jabari, because I think it does depend on who's drafted. Like I know Jabari and Paolo kind of play the same position, but if it's Jabari, I think I'm probably saying goodbye to RJ Hampton, possibly Chuma. And that's the thing, is that I don't want to say like it's guaranteed, but it's just that you can't play so many of these young guys, because at the end of the day, some veterans are going to have to get minutes. These young guys are going to have to learn from somebody, right? And that player has to get minutes. And whether that be Terrence Ross or Gary Harris.
Why are we air quoting? Why are we air quoting?
Or even Robin Lopez at times. We need veterans. We're going to need veterans to be on the court. And I think RJ and Chuma look like those guys that could be possibly be expendable. If we take Jabari, then there's really no need to move Mo, in the sense that, okay, he's for sure not coming back. I think that's only up for debate if we take Chet. But if it's Jabari, then I think it's more so RJ and Chuma.
Yeah, I agree. I would really very welcome back Mo Bamba, especially just to be the backup 5 and then not let him compete with Wendell for the starting spot. But more than likely, I would love to have Mo Bamba being the backup 5. You have a guy that can block shots, that has shown last year he can shoot the 3-ball consistently, spread the floor. And again, you still have Bol as well, seeing whatever he can be. But I think Chuma, in a sense, our wings are more 2-3 than 3-4, other than JI.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't see a point in moving Chuma per se, unless you trade for a guy that can play 3-4. Because if you trade Chuma and you trade for another guard wing-esque instead of a forward-esque player, then you're very, very thin. And you run into the problem that we saw back in 2018, 2019, if JI gets in foul trouble, you're very, very small. Yeah. And I don't think they go through that. I think they learned a lesson, and hence why they signed off Rukamunu back then, to solve that problem. Now you have Chuma in that slot. So I see more of like a couple of our guard 2-3 guys that would more likely be out the door. I think RJ Hampton is probably there. Terrence Ross might be there as well. Gary Harris. A combination of those guys that I see could very well end up being moved this offseason, simply because there's only so many minutes to go around. But it's going to be very interesting to see which direction the front office does end up going in. Because if the pick is Chet, then Mo Bamba very quickly becomes the candidate to willing to be traded, because you have Wendell and Chet already. And then you most might end up bringing Robin Lopez back, whoever else you end up bringing back. But it's going to be very interesting to see how the Magic end up filling in this roster.
I feel like, if we take the only thing I'm scared about is that we're going to take one of these top guys, and even if they outperform Franz and J.I. in training camp, they still won't start. and we're going to develop them the wrong way. And that's the last thing I want to do. You know what I mean?
Well. No. The thing is, if they outplay them, they'll end up getting the start.
I hope so. I hope it like Mosley's not setting anything is set and it's up in the air.
Yeah, of course. Like that's what it was last year when it came to Suggs and France. I'm almost positive France has to earn that starting spot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be very, very tough to beat out either of those two guys in Isaac and France, simply because if you have France, you have the all-around good player that doesn't make many mistakes. He's not great at anything per se yet, but he's good at everything. Then you have Jonathan Isaac, who is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, is improving offensively. We'll see how he looks like when he gets back. But if he's anything close to it was before, you already have an all-defensive team guy. And that's very, very tough to beat out if you're a rookie.
Because we're hoping, one of these guys we're taking is a star. Yeah. We can't develop a star off the bench. You know what I mean?
But at the same time, we've seen guys come off the bench like to start off the year and then grow.
Yeah. They can do that. As long as we develop them.
As long as they don't get the Mo Bamba treatment, they'll grow. As long as they're not out here playing 5 minutes.
I just want them to reach that star potential. I want them to do it from, day one. Because like when I think of top 3 picks, I think of them starting. And again, they have to earn it, but that's why they usually do start opening night, because their talent level is that high. But I don't think we can afford to bring that type of player off the bench. You know what I mean?
But again, most of the time, you're throwing a guy out there because you're not a good team.
Yeah, you're not a good. That's the thing, right? This is where it gets tricky.
That's why I've never seen this team as personally constructed as a beginning rebuilding team.
That's why trades are incoming.
Exactly. This is why Steve Clifford's philosophy makes sense, in a sense that you can stretch out to a 10-man. 9-10 rotation makes sense a lot. Going down 11-12 is really dangerous because minutes are restricted.
Yeah.
Please don't get into rhythm. That's why I want to see whoever we draft at around 15, 18, 20-ish minutes a night. You see good enough of them, but understand that you have to earn the playing time to beat out the guys in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that all depends on what the front office decides to do. But speaking of trades, there's always the other route that you trade the pick for someone that's established.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be against that route either.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it all depends on who's available. And currently, the only guy that I see available is Donovan Mitchell. And I think for any unhappy star around the league, that Orlando has one of the better packages in terms of whoever's getting a package from us to blow it up and rebuild. Because a package from a team like the Knicks that surrounds itself between Julius Randle, you're not doing yourself any favors trading for Julius Randle, Evan Fournier. That package doesn't make sense if you're looking to rebuild. I think Orlando has the draft assets of the Denver pick, the other Chicago pick, the number 1 pick, with any combination of young guys for an established star. Do you see anyone around the league that makes sense, that's realistic in terms of on an unhappy star?
I mean, you kind of took the name I was thinking of, Donovan Mitchell. I think that's the name like a lot of people have been thinking of since, all the problems have arisen in Utah between him and Gobert, and then them losing in the first round the way they did. But like Donovan Mitchell, I can't really think of any other names because I don't know who else that's on his level, because I'm not trading for anyone less of a type of player than Donovan Mitchell. And I'm not too sure if anyone else is available who's on that level. But hey, if they see a young stars available somewhere, because again, like Jeff's always saying, they're going to take calls, they're going to make calls.
Mm-hmm.
So if they see someone's out there that's worth trading the first overall pick, I'm with it. But I don't know. I'd also be okay with trading down, if that makes sense, to the 3 or 4. If you think Shaedon Sharp's your guy, I'm a big fan of his. I think I might be in the minority, but I really like his game. If he could come in and he would play the 2, he would be our solidified 2, because Jalen Suggs is more of the 1, but he's a better 2 than Cole. But if you got Shaedon Sharp, he's your 2. He's your running mate with Markelle. There's no doubt. I think his talent level is there. I think he brings exactly what we need, shooting. We always say that every single year, but he would actually bring shooting. I think his upside, his potential is like up there. I know everyone's on the fence about him because he didn't really go to Kentucky and get that experience. But I think if he had gone, more people are talking about him as the first overall pick. And if the Magic like what they see from this guy, they could fleece a team for assets and draft down and get Shannon Sharp.
Man, looking at the teams that would be looking to move up, maybe a team looking at like Detroit, and I don't really think Detroit would make, because on Detroit Reaver, they haven't made many mistakes. They've made very solid moves in trading for Marvin Bagley, giving up essentially nothing. And I just don't see them moving on a piece from like City. Like they're not doing it. So it has to make sense for both sides. I don't see a team like Detroit. I see like a team like Sacramento ready to move out of their pick just to quickly get better to play alongside De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis.
Yeah.
For this draft in particular, we have to make us, again, a team that's ready to give up assets, get that pick. And I just don't see, at least now, at this point, because we've seen teams turn around. We've seen a guy like Brandon Ingram, many thought would be ready to leave New Orleans. New Orleans turned it around, acquiring CJ McCollum, doing very extremely well in the playoffs, ready for Zion to come back. And it's like, it doesn't make sense. People thought Boston was ready to blow it up, but look at them now.
Yeah.
The only reason they lost to Miami in game one was because of Al Horford and Marcus Smart's absence.
Yeah.
So there's no market set at this time to look at a trade for that pick to either move down or move out of your pick completely. But that's just going to take time to see as we get into the offseason, as the season comes to an end, which teams are ready to move on. But that's just going to take time.
Yep.
But the idea of trading down, because you have Oklahoma City, I think Oklahoma City would be content in drafting Chet, Jabari, or Paula, whoever ends up falling to them. Same thing with Houston. Then you have Sacramento. Then you have Detroit at 5. Maybe a team like Portland would be willing to move up. But again, Portland doesn't have the assets.
Damian Lillard?
Okay.
Your reaction, yeah. Okay.
See, again, there's no team that I see at this very moment that would make sense to move up. That would make sense for Orlando to completely move down.
I see that, yeah.
But yeah, it was just a very exciting time. There's just a lot. There's just a lot of wait and see as the market develops and how these workouts come in.
And if I could ask you just one thing, what's your top 5 big board? Like looking as of right now, like, so we've established number 1 for both of us is Jabari. What's the rest of the 4 looking like?
I have Chet at 2. Paulo. Sharp, Ivy. And it's all very, very close. I think Ivy and Sharp can flip flop. Maybe Ivy in a couple of weeks and a week or so will move up to like 3 or 2. It's all very close. There's no consensus number 1 in this draft per se. But what's your top 5 looking?
So Jabari is number 1. I think 2. It's extremely close, but I think I'm gonna go with Chet as well. Number 3 would be Paolo, and it's like you said, you could flip flop between Sharp and Ivy, and there wouldn't be much of a difference. But I too would go Sharp and Ivy. But I'm not gonna lie, there's just something about Jaden Ivey's game that's so fun to watch. I don't know if it's because he looks like Ja 2.0, or he kind of just looks like Markel before all the injuries. But like it's fun to watch this guy's highlights. I'm not gonna lie. So we're gonna be a winner that night regardless. We're not gonna see some Serge Ibaka trade go down. But yeah,
it's a happy time. Why are we?
Happy time. Only good vibes.
Yeah, only happy time. And again, there's also prospects out of that 5. I think Keegan Murray is also
Keegan Murray is really nice. I'm not gonna lie, he is.
But yeah, I think it's one of these 3 forwards, unless something out of these workouts say something different between Ivy and Sharp. But at the time, I think it's between Chet and Jabari for number 1.
Yeah.
Again, it's going to be a lot of debates coming as we get closer to this draft. I'm just very, very excited.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
We've had so many losing seasons over these past few years, but I think last night was a great turning point. whoever we draft, obviously they're going to take time to develop. But I think as long as health is on our side, I think we're going to look real nice next year. Amway is going to be so lit next year. I'm calling it right now. We're going to be so lit. It's going to be a fun season. We're going to get a great prospect in this draft. And yeah, pure magic. Let's magic together. Let's get it.
Why not us? Why not now? And before we go, quick shout out to the 6-man show putting that event together. It looked like a lot of fun.
It was crazy.
Very crazy. And I hope you have the same energy draft night. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.